There have been rebellions, of course, in this area, starting from 1950s, when there was a Sudan rebellion that has been happening from time and again. But last 3 years plus, there have been huge turbulence in POJK. In fact, the first one, major turbulence was in 2024, when people actually started protesting, saying that they are facing extreme hardships because the atta prices have gone up, the power is, they are being charged at very high rate. The additional Attorney General of Pakistan stated in the court that Kashmir is a foreign territory and Pakistani courts passing a stricture on Kashmir would be seen as an interference in the foreign territory. So that's what, and that's when the media reported, Hamid Mir, etc., reported that this is a very bad situation where Pakistan is showing to the world that its security forces can pick up people as they feel like, but the courts have no jurisdiction over this period. 40 to 70 people have been killed. There are pictures emanating from there where you can see bodies lying on the roads, and things are really becoming bad. What is more important is that at this point of time, Pakistan is also facing dissent in Balochistan and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. And Balochistan, you need to understand, is 43% of Pakistan in terms of area. So it's a huge territory. So Pakistan army is overstretched. It's also fighting with Afghans. More significantly, at this point of time, the self-styled Field Marshal of Pakistan feels that his name is going to be enshrined into history because he's negotiating between the United States and Iran. So he thinks that's a more important thing rather than bothering about what is happening in POJK or Balochistan. And this is actually a replication of what happened in 1971 when Yahya Khan was trying to negotiate between China and the US without bothering about what was happening in Bangladesh.
These people have been repeatedly referring to India, the agitators. So,
point is, these people are constitutionally citizens of India. Because if we say that's our part, these are constitutionally our citizens. We have been voicing concerns, but I think we need to move beyond voicing concerns. I don't think so. India would like to actively get involved into it. But unlike Balochistan, Pakistan needs to understand that this area is contiguous to India, and India has a locus standi as far as this area is concerned, because constitutionally, legally, this is an integral part of India. Then Pakistan has actually not complied with the UN resolution. So I think we have a very strong case, at least for providing moral and material support to the people who are agitating.
Namaskar, this is Pratim Bose and you are watching Podcast with Pratim. I have with me Captain Alok Bansal, Executive Vice President of India Foundation in Delhi. Welcome to the show, sir. Captain Bansal had been here in episode 281 to detail the reasons behind the dissent in Pak-occupied Jammu and Kashmir, Gilgit-Baltistan, Balochistan, etc. So we knew from him why Pakistan is on fire from all sides. Now, after that, the Pak-occupied Kashmir or the Pakistan-Kashmir has become extremely volatile. Too many people have been killed. And as has been the trend for last couple of months or so, we are noticing a particular kind of slant in the news that is emanating from the West or the agencies which are linked to the West. So I saw one discussion at a TV channel which from the Middle East, which is aligned to the West, very prominent channel. So where the discussions were, some of them were claiming that it is an Indian playbook that the Pakistan is implementing in Kashmir. And that said, we are already aware that the Pakistan Prime Minister has described the agitators in Kashmir equivalent to India, and he also blamed those who killed as the Indian operatives or sympathizers of India. So over to you, sir.
See, firstly, we need to understand that when we say Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir, it's a vast territory, actually, which includes Gilgit-Baltistan as well. Now, of course, with the reorganization of Jammu and Kashmir in India, we can have a different nomenclature as POJK and Pakistan-occupied territory of Ladakh. But uh, ideally speaking, the territory of former princely state of Jammu and Kashmir, which is occupied by Pakistan, has been divided by Pakistan into two parts. One small area which it calls Azad Jammu and Kashmir, and the
Right.
other which is Gilgit-Baltistan. And we need to understand that this territory, which they try to call as Azad Jammu and Kashmir, is not even 15% of the total area under their occupation.
Right.
Earlier, most of the turbulence in Pakistan occupied Jammu and Kashmir was in Gilgit-Baltistan, where people are culturally different, linguistically different. And Pakistanis believe that this so-called AJK is culturally integrated with Pakistan. There have been rebellions, of course, in this area, starting from 1950s, when there was a Sudan rebellion that has been happening from time and again. But last 3 years plus, there have been huge turbulence in POJK. In fact, the first one, major turbulence was in 2024, when people actually started protesting, saying that they are facing extreme hardships because the atta prices have gone up, the power is, they are being charged at very high rate, whereas, and they were having 11 to 12 hours of power cut. Now, people protested saying that we are producing 2,600 megawatts of electricity from Mangalar Dam itself, and our consumption is around 300 megawatts. So why should we have power cuts? We are producing more than 9 to 10 times that electricity, what our consumption is. So why should we have a power cut? They also protested that we are giving electricity to the central grid at 2 rupees 26 paisa, but we are being charged anything between 26 to 40 rupees per unit. So there was a protest. They also felt that the elite, which were both elected representatives as well as the top bureaucrats, who were actually all from outsiders, were getting all the benefits, subsidized electricity, free electricity, and free petrol, etc., whereas they were paying for everything. So they protested. And this started in 2024. And as you know, the easiest thing for Pakistan government is to do is to clamp down on information. So they shut down internet, they shut down flow of information. And there was actually a journalist, Pakistani journalist from POJK, who was actually living in Islamabad, called Ahmed Faraz. He was reporting. So he was picked up by the Pakistani security agencies, and his wife actually filed an habeas corpus petition in Islamabad High Court. When she filed an habeas corpus petition, the additional Attorney General of Pakistan stated in the court that Kashmir is a foreign territory, and Pakistani courts passing a stricture on Kashmir would be seen as an interference in the foreign territory. So that's what, and that's when the media reported, Hamid Mir, etc., reported that this is a very bad situation where Pakistan is showing to the world that its security forces can pick up people as they feel like, but the courts have no jurisdiction over this period. So this has been going on, and I think Pakistani government has been trying to negotiate and all. But we need to understand that this territory, which they called Azad, is actually nothing but a facade. Though they have a president, prime minister, Supreme Court, etc. But whenever the government changes in Pakistan, the regime also changes in POJK, in Muzaffarabad. And that's
Right.
what's been happening. Now, these elections were coming. And as you know, they created a JAAC, which was actually spearheading the demands. And they had, of course, a large number of demands, but there was one particular demand which was very, very significant. And this we need to understand. POJK, or the AJK assembly, has 53 members, out of which only 33 are elected directly from this region. 8 are indirectly elected. But what is at stake was that 12 members who are elected from Pakistan, and these seats are reserved for 6 members for those who have migrated from Kashmir in Pakistan, and 6 members for those people who have migrated from Jammu region in Pakistan. And according to estimates, the Kashmiris who have migrated are as few as 30,000. So 30,000 people, you are giving them 6 seats. And what happens is, since these constituencies are spread out, it helps ISI and other security agencies to manipulate them easily. So these 12 seats are there for the taking as far as security agencies are concerned, and that they keep manipulating. As it is, Pakistan's record of conducting elections is not very noteworthy, because we saw what happened in last general election itself, where there was blatant rigging. So with that sort of a thing, the people were extremely upset. They wanted that these seats must go immediately. And Pakistan has really not gone ahead with that. And they are going ahead with elections. As you know, first round of elections did take place. Understand, in a small territory like POJK, they are having 3 rounds of election, whereas Pakistan generally in their country has national elections in 1 round, and generally, by and large. And that too, what they have done is that the first round election results have been declared before the second round starts, which again goes against the basic principles of free and fair elections, because the results of first round invariably impact the second and third round.
Right.
So that has been the case. And so much so that the main opposition party, which was earlier the ruling party, PTI, has boycotted the elections because they were not allowed to contest the elections on their symbols. So they were not being allowed to canvass, and they saw what happened in Gilgit-Baltistan where there was a blatant rigging. So they have boycotted. But not only PTI, now even the ruling party's alliance partner, the Pakistan People's Party, has also accused them of blatant rigging. So that is the situation that is actually taking place. And situation is aggravating. According to reports, between 40 to 70 people have been killed. There are pictures emanating from there where you can see bodies lying on the roads, and things are really becoming bad. But we need to understand it's a small territory, and Pakistan army is a brutal army. In fact, it really shows no compassion when dealing with its own citizens who they perceive are conspiring against the state.
So you are expecting Pakistan army to suppress the dissent in no time. Is that correct?
I won't say that they'll be able to suppress the dissent. They'll be able to crush it. The simmering dissent will continue because the people are upset, and a large number of people from this area have had a tradition of serving in armed forces. And they are militant people, like Sudans, etc., are considered warriors. In fact, in British India, a large number of people from Punch region were in the British Army. So it will not be so easy to crush them because they'll be protesting, and the protests will continue. The simmering discontent will continue. But what is more important is that at this point of time, Pakistan is also facing dissent in Balochistan and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. And Balochistan, you need to understand, is 43% of Pakistan in terms of area. So it's a huge territory. So Pakistan army is overstretched. It's also fighting with Afghans. So there also, it has still having a tension with India. So Pakistan army is overstretched. And more significantly, at this point of time, the self-styled Field Marshal of Pakistan feels that his name is going to be enshrined into history because he's negotiating between the United States and Iran. So he thinks that's a more important thing rather than bothering about what is happening in POJK or Balochistan. And this is actually a replication of what happened in 1971 when Yahya Khan was trying to negotiate between China and the US without bothering about what was happening in Bangladesh.
That's interesting. Interesting similarity. I'm sure my viewers in Bangladesh will be delighted to know. Sir, so they are, how do you see the India's role in this? Role means, assuming that these people have been repeatedly referring to India, the agitators. So,
point is, these people are constitutionally citizens of India. Because if we say that's our part, these are constitutionally our citizens. We've been voicing concerns, but I think we need to move beyond voicing concerns. I think we need to start raising issues in international fora. We need to probably take up the issue even in United Nations because Pakistan has been doing it repeatedly. For a change, you can see that even in London, where 70% of the so-called Pakistani diaspora is actually Mirpuris, they have now started protesting in front of Pakistani missions. You saw the footwear protest in front of Pakistani mission and all those issues which are happening. So that is happening. Now we need to further it. I don't think so India would like to actively get involved into it. But unlike Balochistan, Pakistan needs to understand that this area is contiguous to India, and India has a locus standi as far as this area is concerned, because constitutionally, legally, this is an integral part of India. And even the United Nations resolution had asked Pakistan to withdraw all its troops from this region. And that Pakistan should have done. Pakistan has actually not complied with the UN resolution. So I think we have a very strong case, at least for providing moral and material support to the people who are agitating.
So one interesting distinction from what happened in 1971, insofar as the Indian intervention goes, that time the East Pakistan was a separate country, but over here, the POJK is constitutionally a part of India, and in the Jammu and Kashmir Assembly, there were seats for those part of Kashmir. So it means that it may not be considered as intervention. That you mean to say so?
Not only that, please understand, we have seats which we have unfortunately not filled. I have always believed that we should have filled them by people who have migrated from that place either into India or other parts of the world. But more significantly, as far as Pakistan's constitution is concerned, this region is not part of Pakistan. So I really don't know how legally Pakistan can justify the action by its military forces in this particular part of the world.
So that takes me to the last question. I mean, the stand therefore will shift to that Azad Kashmir, combining both Kashmirs, right? So do you expect, I mean, that is what Pakistan would love to press. So do you expect this thing, this descent over there, to anywhere spread in the Indian side?
No, I don't think so, because this dissent is actually specific to Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir because of peculiar economic situation, the peculiar political situation, and the peculiar socio-economic situation that exists there. Please understand, unlike that part, as far as Jammu and Kashmir is concerned, most of the officials are locals. The elections are held free and fair. Elections have been generally free and fair. The economic conditions of the people are much better. In fact, as far as you contrast this, Jammu and Kashmir, an average citizen, his income is much better than, much higher than what happens in probably Indian states. Whereas you contrast that in Pakistan, where POJK is actually suffering as compared to rest of Pakistan, and economic exploitation continues unabated. The Mangala Dam inundated territory in POJK, but provides electricity to Pakistan. The irrigation to downstream Pakistan, its capacity was raised, further inundating territory in POJK. But still, all the benefits accrue to the downstream areas which are in Pakistan. So that sort of exploitation we don't see. And I think people over the years have realized that Indian state is fair. And I'm sure very soon, as per the assurance given in the Supreme Court, the government of India will reinstate the statehood as far as Jammu and Kashmir is concerned, and that would, I think, remove whatever little reservations people might have. But one comparison, the moment the two parts come together, people will see how people in Srinagar and other areas have thrived during this period, while people in POJK were suffering. A look at the pictures that emanate from Muzaffarabad and Srinagar will show you the contrast. You can see the houses, you can see the grandeur of the buildings, etc. That shows how much is the difference.
I think particularly in the last 4 years, Kashmir has witnessed tremendous activities, development activities. And before that, the argument was never about exploitation, about taking things from them. It was actually the reverse. So that is all correct. And I had another guest quite some time ago on my platform from Jammu University, and they were referring to these contrasts in development. Also, we have seen some blogs from Pakistani side, which were referring to these contrasts. So, sir, last question and a quick one. Is that about, you said that India must offer moral and material support, and India must step up its ante in terms of the global narrative. But what we are seeing is India is a loser in narratives completely. I'm sorry for my word, but I don't know what such a big establishment does. So I saw, as I told you, I saw the discussion over there in that very prominent channel from the Middle East, and where someone had to, from Pakistan, someone had from the government side, had the courage to take credit about Pakistani election machinery. So, so anyway, so why, I mean, how do you expect the government to do on this? And, what are the immediate steps that we should see even in media and etc.?
See, I think Indian media has lost credibility, and I think they are to blame themselves. I think they need to introspect, because without being credible, you can't be relevant. Very often, our media channels try to be relevant without being credible, and which is a problem. So that's what we have to do, and I think Government of India needs to also bolster. So many of our agencies, our government departments, have people who are transient, who come, who, like in MEA, somebody might be handling Greece till yesterday, and today he or she starts handling POJK without knowing what the history is, what the geography is. I'm sure the people who are handling the desks sometimes don't even know the geography of this territory. So those are the issues. I think uh, our system of having generalists has its limitations. It has its advantages also, but it has its limitations. And I think a time has come when specialist inputs must be taken more and more into issues like these.
Thank you, sir. I think that needs a separate discussion, and I appreciate your points about media and etc. So thank you very much for responding to the call.